Destination, fluency. You know it's out there somewhere, but you're lost. You know where you're trying to get to, but there are dangers and problems along the journey that'll stop you in your tracks and leave you feeling nervous, frustrated, and understanding English, but not really speaking. Well, good news. I've got the map that's going to guide you the right way. Okay, let's simplify it a bit. See, this is where we're going. Fluency land. So this is the route you need to take. Unfortunately, the route is full of hazards. So you need to know what they are so you're prepared. We're going to travel through the map together, step by step, to reveal the secret of fluency. But first, spoiler alert, the secret isn't comprehensible input. Most people think you can just get comprehensible input, watching videos and reading books, and get super fluent. It's an important part of the preparation for our journey, but it's only one part. Comprehensible input is the best, or at least the easiest way to get the wide range of vocabulary and grammatical understanding that you're going to need. It's like the fuel that we need for our journey, but there's a limit to how much fuel you can put in the tank before you actually start driving. We're going to have to stop along the way and refuel as we go. So what are the other ingredients that we need? Well, if comprehensible input is the fuel, then comprehensible output is the engine. You have to start the engine to start the parts moving, or you're not going anywhere. You have to start using your English, and that means speaking practice. Most people don't do this because, I've got no one to talk to, or it's just more effort than watching Netflix in English. But you absolutely can practice your English speaking on your own. And I've got a free ebook that'll tell you exactly how to do it. Links in the description. Just click the link, put your email address in, and I'll send you the PDF. So we've fueled up, we've started our engines, and now we're off on our way to fluency. And we've reached our first danger, perfectionism. If you're like me, you'll struggle with perfectionism. Now, a certain degree of perfectionism is a good thing. Think of the alternative. It's somebody who just doesn't care about quality. Well, that's no good. But it's a spectrum. In language learning and speaking, perfectionism is real, but perfection is a myth. You could study English every day for the rest of your life and you still wouldn't learn every word. You get pretty good, but you're aiming for perfection, and perfection's not available. So we want it as good as possible, or just good enough to communicate, because it's all about communication. I'm not saying just relax and a positive attitude will fix your mistakes. I'm saying the best way to improve your quality and make fewer mistakes is to make mistakes. Quantity leads to quality. You know this, you've heard it a million times. Make loads of mistakes, it's the best way to learn. But it's easier said than done. I'm guilty of it. I get self-conscious when I'm speaking Spanish. Not so much when I was a beginner. Beginners are expected to make loads of mistakes, so that's kind of okay. But I found that the more advanced my level got, the more anxious I got, because I started to get the reputation of, he's really good at Spanish, and you try and live up to that and become terrified of making any mistakes. Do you find that? I mean, your English is probably pretty good if you're following this video. Now, fluency isn't all about skills. Sometimes it's about how you show up. So next on our map, we've reached confidence, and it's the police. You're trying to cross the border into fluency land territory, but you're nervous as hell because you've got a shitload of drugs in the boot. No, what I mean is that you're worried that the police are going to ask you some difficult questions and realise that your English has got some technical problems, and they're going to say, stop, you can't come into fluency land. The problem is that deep down, you believe that your English isn't technically good enough for fluency. I mean, the truth is, your English isn't really good enough. You know, there's a load of grammar that you still don't understand properly, and quite a few words that you haven't learnt yet. The police are the native speakers. They're fat and eating donuts, probably Americans, and they're going to see you coming. So you're expecting to be stopped and strip searched by the native police. Ha! We caught you trying to speak English. Back to the classroom and the comprehensible input videos for you. But I'm telling you, if you approach the checkpoint with confidence like this, they won't even see you. They won't ask to see your C2 certificate. They'll just wave you through. You might actually be C2, but if you're nervous, you're getting stopped. You're not fluent, you can't come in. But if you've got your B1, you approach with confidence, morning officer, he'll wave you through, no problem. But how do you exude confidence even if you're a nervous wreck inside? Well, it's a mindset, and we'll work on it over time. But there is one tip that you can use straight away, and I got this from Charlie Hupert, and it's the prey versus predator movements. He says, move like a lion, not like a mouse. And I really like that. Just think how a lion moves with purpose and confidence because they don't fear anything. Compare that to a mouse. All the movements are jittery and they're looking around and nervous because they could be getting eaten by anybody or anything at any time. So we want to be more like the lion. So now you're moving on with confidence. Beware of our next danger, and it's speed. There's a speed camera. You're starting to get some confidence, and when you listen to native speakers, it sounds like we're talking really fast. So you set off talking and you think you need to go at top speed to be fluent. Well, no, actually, it's better to slow down and focus on clarity. There might be bits where you can speed up, but there are definitely bits where you need to slow down or you're going to spin off the road and crash. See, the words and sounds are unfamiliar at first. So if you try to Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, sniffed Peter Piper, it's not going to end well. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, sniffed Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. You'll find that as you get more speaking practice, your speed will naturally increase. You don't need to force it. There's a saying that I like that originally comes from firearms training on how to reload a gun really fast under stressful conditions. And it says that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. If you rush, you fumble and drop the bullets. The idea is that if you move slowly and deliberately, you make fewer mistakes. That deliberate smoothness eventually turns into speed that's controlled and efficient. I train this with reggaeton lyrics when I'm practicing Spanish. Ese cuerpito que tú tienes, traje de baño chiquitito te queda. Ese cuerpito que tú tienes, traje de baño chiquitito te queda. It took me a few days to even be able to say that phrase slowly and then gradually sped it up to the speed of the song. But it's not just for rapping. The same applies to having conversations in English. Slow down a bit, give yourself some time to find the right words, build the correct sentence structure, and control the pronunciation and rhythm. There's no rush. Speed can come later. Remember, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Next on our journey, it's time for a break. So let's take a pause at this rest stop. And on any long journey, you always need to take a break. Now, this applies at every level of our metaphor. So in a phrase, you can pause for effect to let your words breathe. This captivates attention, draws listeners in, and commands authority. In a conversation, pause. Let the conversation breathe. Let others speak. You don't know who you might meet at the rest stop. Let's see what they have to say. Just because we're speaking doesn't mean we need a continuous stream of words. The art of speaking, the art of conversation, requires you to be a good listener. And also, don't forget to pause on the journey to fluency. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Next stop, fear. This is the foggy part of the journey where you can't see where you're going or what you're doing, and most learners stop. The way forward will be unclear. You'll think, I can't do it, I can't speak yet. But listen, if you stop here, the fog never lifts. You've got to keep driving. Every word you speak pushes you forwards, even if it's slow, even if it's wrong. Your fluency doesn't come first. It comes from driving through the fog, from like breaking through that difficulty. So trust me at this point, just keep going, keep driving. I noticed this when I started recording myself speaking about random topics. At the time when I was speaking, I almost always felt that it was so bad that I wanted to stop there and then. I'd stop the recording, or I'd delete it, or if it was for YouTube, I'd record it again the next day, because I thought that's unusable. It's terrible. But I found that if I did upload and watch the footage back, it was almost never as bad as I thought it was at the time. So that encouraged me to just remember that at the time, when I feel the urge to stop, when I feel the fear, and just drive through, keep going. It's probably not as bad as it feels. And don't forget, if you want to get your free copy of my ebook, Solo Speaking Success, telling you exactly how you can practice your speaking skills, even if you're all on your own, then the link's below in the description and in the pinned comment. Hopefully not the only comment below. The next checkpoint is continual learning. Remember I said that comprehensible input was the fuel? Well, on the journey to fluency, don't forget to stop and refuel your knowledge. This could be through dedicated learning, studying grammar, learning vocabulary, but the best way, or at least the most sustainable way, is through comprehensible input. This doesn't need to be comprehensible input vlog videos on YouTube. It can be anything, but get real stuff that you're interested in. Books, articles, podcasts. Engage with real English and keep improving. As well as refueling with continual learning, we also need to do some vehicle maintenance. Here's the next vital checkpoint: maintenance. Remember, our communication vehicle is our speaking. We have our fuel and we have our engine. But we need to listen to our engine to make sure it's running correctly and efficiently, to make sure it isn't making any strange sounds. Now, you could be tempted to stop here at the mechanic. This is like an expensive speaking coach. Now you're going to say, what's wrong with my speaking? Can you fix me? And he's going to say, ooh, you've got some serious problems. It looks like a big job. Now I can do it, but the parts and the labor, it's going to be expensive. It might cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. When I started teaching English, I used to talk a lot, explaining and correcting and giving advice. But the more I taught, the less I found I was speaking. And my students just needed somebody to talk to. They didn't need to really listen to me. And then I realized that when I was finding mistakes and correcting things, well, most of that they could have done themselves. For you, this means you can do lots of self-maintenance. When you know what to look for, you can correct most of your own mistakes. So I've designed this self-assessment scorecard to show you what to listen for and to help you hear your own mistakes or improvement points. It's included at the back of the free ebook, link in the description. So now you know the checkpoints, you know the dangers, you know what to do. So enjoy the interactions that your new speaking confidence will allow you to discover. Relax, put on some music, roll down the windows and enjoy the drive. Enjoy your journey towards fluency. It's not just the moving point on the horizon that's always out of reach. It's a real place and you will get there. Here's your next video and see you next time.